Welcome back, friends, and welcome to all my first-time viewers. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at 10 gardening hacks that save you money. A penny saved is a penny earned, and we could all use more of that, right? So we're going to go through step by step, and I hope that it's going to help you. And if you have never been here before, my name is Marlene. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first one is reusing the containers from your starts. We typically just throw them away and get new starts the following year, but this can help you to save on soil. So let's take a look at how you would do that. And so guys, you may have noticed over the last few years that the cost of soil has definitely gone up, some brands more than others. So we try to save money by using less of it where we can. And so what I do here is I go ahead and I put the start containers in the bottom of my larger containers, and I try not to go more than a third of the way, and then I just go ahead and add my soil in, so that way we end up using a lot less. And this is a great idea for plants that have more shallow roots. If they have deeper roots, then this might not be the best option for you. What I like to do is I like to turn them upside down. I kind of like, figure that after a while. Some people will put rocks in the bottom to save on soil, but it makes it heavier, the container that is. And also when you put the soil on it, sometimes what you may find is that the soil right over where the rocks are, it builds up a very dense layer, and then your plants might have root rot. So it may seem like a good option, but quite often it is not. The next one is painting your garden fixtures. So this over here is a plant stand, and you can see it was looking so faded and in poor shape. So I decided to go ahead and get some spray paint to just go ahead and spray it over. Nice black shiny color. And I try to make sure that the weather is warm and not windy and dry as well, so that way you get really good results. And just take a look at it, guys. It looks so much better. It's like a brand new plant, and you can do the same thing for your pots too. So here's a good one, guys, and that is to line the inside of your hanging baskets with a plastic bag. It could be a bag like this, the black ones, whatever color you prefer, because what happens is when your baskets are hanging like that, because gravity is pulling the water down, they tend to dry out a lot faster. So if you place one of these in there, shaping it out like the basket, it takes it so much further in terms of how long your watering period lasts for. And so I just go ahead and get a skewer and stick, a lot of holes over in it and just kind of shape it out to the size of the container so the soil isn't showing, and then just fill it all the way up. And it's also a great idea for window boxes because, again, they have the coconut coir lining and they're higher up. So, they tend to dry out a lot easier. So it's a great idea to put that in there to conserve on your watering, how much of that you need to do. Aren't those gorgeous? The next one is using household products for plant food. This right here is some banana peel water. I didn't make a lot because it was just for 2 small containers. But you could basically save the banana peels. You can put them in the refrigerator, and then when you're ready, you could just put them to soak for maybe about 2 days or so. This over here would be some Epsom salt, and you would want to get the one that is fragrance free. And I'll try to link some of these products in the description box for you guys. And it's basically 2 tablespoons of the Epsom salt to 2 gallons of water, and your plants are gonna love it because the magnesium that's in it helps the leaves to stay nice and healthy and green. And I find that tomatoes especially love this. I typically add it like maybe every other week or maybe once per month sometimes, complementing other foods for the plants. The next one is to use self-watering containers. And just to show you what it looks like, this one's a little bit older, but just to show you, there's a lid at the bottom. It's kind of like it has 2 layers. I was actually repotting this croton a couple of years ago. These ones right here, you can look and see there is no lid at the bottom, so they are not self-watering, and these ones are. So when you see the lid, that's how you kind of can tell that they are self-watering, and it's going to save you time. This one, again, is not self-watering. And this one may seem like a really simple one, but sometimes we forget to do it, and that is saving your seeds, especially if it's flowers or fruits and veggies that you really enjoyed. It's a great idea to do that. So let's take a look and see what I did for some of mine. Yes, guys, so I was so in love with this marigold, so I decided that I really wanted to have more of it. So I went ahead and saved the seeds. And you'll want to do that, when the seed heads have dried out, and you just go in and snip them off and put them to dry in a nice, cool, dark place. If they're not completely dry, then you may have mold taking them over. So it's good to make sure that they are completely dry. And also check too to make sure that they're not certain types of hybrids that are sterile, because that does happen sometimes and they will not, reproduce for you. And this video that I did some time ago did really well. It went through a step-by-step of how to save your marigold seeds. And I'll try to put that one in the description box for you. The next one is using cinder blocks to make raised beds. And that's what my husband is doing right there. And it's pretty easy to match them out. This is a longer one that we had here. Just make sure, guys, that it's not too wide, because you need to be able to get behind them. And it needs to not be too wide, so you have to be reaching and you can't, get to where you want in the flower bed. So I'd say try not to make them too wide. And the cinder blocks, they are pretty inexpensive when you consider how large they are relative to other types. This, of course, is more like for a backyard garden setup than the front garden. For those who want something a little bit more fancy, but this works perfectly for your veggies and fruits, like in your backyard garden, and I love it. And when you're doing these raised beds, it's a good idea. If you didn't want to have to dig, you could just go ahead and get cardboard and put over the weeds, and in about or even grass, maybe like in about 2 weeks or so, all of the weeds would have died, and you just put the soil on top so that we don't have to dig. You just get going with that. Since we're talking about soil, another good thing to do is to reuse your soil. Of course, when you have used your soil, a lot of the nutrients are going to be gone, from previous plants. But you can just go in and take out, like your anything that's larger pieces in there, you pick them out first. And then you can go in and actually, sieve them out and add amendments to it, whether it be like compost or composted manure, composted mushrooms. And I'll link these in the description box if you wanted to get some of these soil tips. And I just wanted to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you've never done so before. We do lots of gardening topics, tips, and tours over here. Most times my husband is behind the camera, sometimes he's in front of it. And be sure to hit the bell twice so you never miss an upload. Another one is making your own hummingbird food. Of course, you can buy them, but it costs so much less when you just make it with sugar and water. So let's see how you can do that. And so over here, you'll want to be sure that you are using granulated sugar. Brown sugar is not good for them. So you'll need for it to be granulated sugar. And you can use, well, this is a 2-cup measure right here. The proportion that we normally use is 1 part sugar to 3 parts water. So since that's a 2-cup measure, I'll be putting in a 1/2 cup of sugar, and then I'm going to put in 1.5 cups of water and just shake it up and add it in there. And this is a bit blurry, but guys, because I was zooming not as well as I'd have liked to, but once you put it there, they will come and they'll enjoy it. But try to change it 3 times per week when the weather is hot. The next one is planting perennials and then dividing them. These over here, these are some beautiful cone flowers that I've had for quite a few years. Bear in mind, though, that as we say for perennials, the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap. So it means that you need to give them some time before you're able to divide them. When they've come to their full potential, then you can go ahead and start dividing them. These were some beautiful ones that my neighbor had, and I did put this in a previous video. And you can go to videos, guys, on my my channel icon. Just tap for videos, and you can scroll through and see some of the previous ones that I've done. But this is really beautiful, and I love it. And what she does is that she has different blooming types, perennials in there. So like that's a beautiful red coneflower, very striking. To the left, you can see she has some salvia. Those are earlier bloomers. You can enjoy the seed heads or trim them back. That back there, the pink one, that is yarrow. And just to show you some, some ideas of some of them that you can use. That pink one is yarrow right there. And it's becoming a lot more popular in recent times. And you can see why it's just so pretty. It looks like kind of like a bubblegum colored to me. And she just places them out, and they are so beautiful. They're bringing pollinators, so they're pretty in themselves, but they also add other interest to your garden as well. These are some verbena right here, the purple ones that you're seeing. So that's another pretty one right there again. And over here she had some allium, the smaller varieties, which I thought was so unusual, so pretty. And so this over here is my husband dividing a salvia that we had in our raised bed at the backyard. And this one was quite a bit of a monster, because sometimes, you don't even have to wait for 4 to 5 years to divide them, because this one was about 3 years old, but it was already so large, we had to go in and get it taken out. And it was quite a task, but eventually, he was successful with it. So you can see we're dividing them, and we can get at least 2 plants out of this. We can split it 4 ways to get 4 plants. We can give them to friends and neighbors. Since we're talking about perennials, this recent video I talked about beautiful spring flowering trees and shrubs, and it will be at the end where you can click on it to watch it and just get some great ideas. Propagating your plants. You can get so many plants from just one by propagation. This is a lovely set that my sister got me recently, and I was so thankful that she did that. I'll just open it up and show you what it looks like inside. And you don't necessarily have to get something like this, but just to show you, what is available for you. Take it out. This is the part that you're going to hang them on. It also comes with one of these. You can see little bottles right here, because they don't need to be large. They just need to work, right? And then you'll put them in there, and when you hang them up, it's like this. If you don't have something like this, you can just go ahead and get a regular see-through, like a clear vase or vase or a bottle or something like that. And you can just snip your plants off and put them in here. So I'm doing a little bit of an unboxing for you. You can see that they had the 2 stand parts right in there. And I just went ahead and screwed them on. And it's pretty simple, to do the step-by-step following the guide that they put. And these were some little rubber caps to just put over there. So what these do is that they prevent the little flasks from falling off. It has them stay in place. And I just think they look so cute. So you just put them on, and they're good to go. And you can use them, if you want to just have a hydroponic look in your home, or you just want to propagate your plants, it's a great idea. Whenever when I was taking these out, it reminded me of the science lab all over again. I just think they look so nice. And of course, they have the little brush in there, so you can clean them whenever you're ready. Like you're propagating your plants, you can always go in and clean them out. And then over here, I went ahead and I added in some water. I'd say maybe like about halfway up, and just put them in there. And if you're liking this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. It sends a good message out so that it gets recommended to others, so they can get the same information. Of course, if you have any gardening hacks that I may have missed, we still have a few more to go, but if I missed anything, be sure to let me know in the comments. So this is how they're looking, and that's mint that I had in there. So for this one, you'll be using your brown paper bags to ripen your fruits, especially at the end of the growing season, when you have to bring them in before it gets really cold out there. This is the perfect solution. So let's take a look and see what I did with mine. So this is how my tomatoes were looking before the first hard freeze. I took everything off and put them in the brown paper bag inside my cupboard. 2 of them looked like they had frostbite on there, which they did, so I tossed those, but all the other ones were great. And I've, refrigerated some of them, and some of them I froze them, and I'm using them to cook. I want to thank you so much for coming by again. Those of you who are returning or first-time viewers, I'd love so much if you would hit the subscribe button and join us on this journey of gardening. I want to wish you happy gardening, and I do hope to see you in the next video.